Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Champions League 2025-2026 season. Yes, this Champions League season hasn't ended yet. We still have a final to play, to watch, but I'm very excited about the Champions League next season, obviously. And all of the leagues have finished off, so we mostly know about the top teams that will be in the Champions League this season. But before reacting to the teams, I wanted to react to one big thing, which is top 5 league teams in the Champions League. This is something I've seen and noticed, and a lot of other people have seen and noticed. I wanted to go back to the 1994 and 1995 season. So 30 years ago in the Champions League, this was, only 4 groups back then. One team from Spain, one team from England, one team from France, one team from Germany, and one team from Italy. So 5 teams from the European top 5 leagues, only the champion from every single group. And shout out to Paris Saint-Germain, finishing first in 1995. Going to 2005, these were the teams that were here. Obviously, they've added the amount of teams to be in the tournament. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. PSG there once again. We're finishing last. So 17 teams. So in 10 years, we went from 5 to 17. You can see 1 English team, 2 English team, 3 English team. 4 English teams made it to the Champions League in 04-05. Then, if we go to 14-15, how many teams do we have here? Do we have more from the European top 5 leagues? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So basically the numbers didn't change between 04, 05, and 14, 15 because they always change the format and so on. But from 04, 05 to 14, 15, they did not add any positions for the top 5 leagues. But as you can see, they are starting to dominate the tournament more and more. And one interesting thing is every single 10-year gap we looked, PSG was in the UCL every single year. Shout out to Paris Saint-Germain. But now, obviously, we come to this year, and these are the confirmed teams yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 from England. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We've now reached the 04-05 peak. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And I do believe 22. And there's one Ligue 1 team that can qualify for the Champions League as well, which was the 4th finish, which was Nice. They will be able to go into this tournament, which will make it into 23 teams. What do you guys think about this? Because for me, football is all about quality, all right? I want as much quality as possible. And the teams in the top 5 leagues are obviously have way more money, have way more quality than teams from outside of the top 5 leagues. So if you want to make the Champions League more about quality, you add in more teams from Europe's top 5 leagues. But obviously, what is the case now? Portugal will basically only get 1 team, maybe 2. Turkey will only get 1 team. So this is something negative for the smaller nations, for the smaller teams. But for me, obviously, it doesn't affect Paris Saint-Germain. It only affects it positively. And then the quality of the Champions League gets improved. But now that I've finished off about this topic, because I saw a lot of people talking about it, let's jump into the leagues. The first league to look at is the Premier League. Liverpool obviously won the league. They will be in the Champions League this season. They could have potentially gone further. I think they were stronger than a round of 16 exit. But obviously, they faced the strongest team in the tournament that early in Paris Saint-Germain. Next up, you got Arsenal FC. They will be in the Champions League for the 3rd time in a row. Quarterfinals, semi. Will they reach the final next year? I don't think so. But interesting what Arsenal will do in the UCL next season. They will probably make, quarter-ish run. You got City, obviously back into the Champions League. Last season, that was probably one of the most embarrassing City campaigns. They finished like 22nd, 23rd in the group stage and got pumped by Madrid. So City definitely have to improve heavily going into the season. They're obviously trying to make a lot of signings as well. Liverpool, yes, they did lose Trent and so on. Salah, Van Dijk getting a bit older despite them extending, but they're going to sign Vert, Frimpong, Kerkes. So, yeah, these 3 teams will all be good. I think City will obviously be good. They'll be better than last season. Arsenal, I don't know if they will be better in terms of reaching a semifinal. I don't see Arsenal potentially reaching a semifinal again, but the experience they got from this year will be crucial. Liverpool, I see them once again trying to go for it. Now that they've won the Premier League, the motivation and hunger will be for the UCL. We also got Chelsea, obviously into the Champions League. Very interesting. We haven't seen Chelsea in the Champions League in like 4 seasons. What was it? Was it the last Tuchel season? No, it was the last Lampard season, I believe. Chelsea were in the Champions League. So interesting seeing Chelsea back. No, actually not Lampard. But interesting seeing Chelsea back. They will obviously be part of the Club World Cup. Let's see what Chelsea can do in the Club World Cup to see, what kind of level they are at, what teams could they compete with. But they will obviously have like a lot of experience. I mean, this Newcastle side is more Champions League experience in terms of the squad that they have, the manager, even the culture at the club, because they played in the UCL last season. So interesting from Chelsea and Newcastle, like 2 young boys, 2 virgins going into the UCL. And then we have to move all the way down here. Tottenham Hotspurs obviously qualified for the Champions League by winning the Europa League, and they will be such a surprising team in the Champions League. They finished so low. Obviously, they underperformed heavily. When you look at the squad they have, the money they have, the manager they have, they should not be finishing this low. They'll probably make some signings now in the summer transfer window. I don't see them doing that much, but they can be a very interesting team. And, the experience from winning a trophy is absolutely immense. So Spurs could be a tricky side next season. And those were all the Champions League sides. Obviously, we got some Europa League, Conference League. We don't care about that. Aston Villa bottled it. Nottingham Forest bottled it. I think Nottingham Forest were in the top 3 for like 26 match weeks and then bottled it. I'm very happy they're now representing the Premier League in the Champions League here. Next up, we'll take a look at Ligue 1 quickly. Paris Saint-Germain obviously making it. Hopefully, we're going to win the UCL next season. So next season is going to be about revenge. Can we do again? 2 in a row. Beautiful Paris Saint-Germain. Then we got Marseille back into the Champions League. They're honestly very woeful. They're like one of the worst French teams we've seen in the league in recent time. Like, they're absolutely disgusting in the Champions League. And I hope they get relegated. I hope they finish lost 36 in the Champions League table. I hope they're garbage. But this is probably the best Marseille we've seen in the past like 10 years since QSI took over. So this should probably be their best Champions League run. But it all depends on the transfers they make, what potential players they could lose as well. Monaco, they're always good. Monaco are always good. The only issue with Monaco is they are a serious battling institution. Usually they always, have a lot of unexperienced youngsters as well. That probably leads to, I remember I saw their game versus Benfica, how they didn't go through versus Benfica. Astonishes me because they were way better than Benfica. But just the moments, they can't take the moments, both attackingly and defensively. But they will be interesting. I'm seeing some of the potential signings they might make. They're looking at Skriniar from PSG, Ansu Fati from FC Barcelona. So Monaco could be interesting. And Nice, obviously, they will have to qualify. I think it's only versus one team they will play to go into the Champions League. They obviously were really, really bad in the Conference League last year. So it's going to be interesting what Nice could do in the Champions League this year. I would have preferred the Lille or Lyon in the UCL to represent Ligue 1. But let's see what Nice can do. They were obviously a team we couldn't beat in Ligue 1 last season. And over the 4 times we've faced them in the league, and we've only beaten them once. So maybe there could be a defensive kryptonite for some teams in the Champions League. Moving into the Serie A, Inter, we obviously know about them in the UCL final this year. Seen them. They've been here plenty of times. Obviously, the most consistent top side from the Italian league. So happy to see them again. Atalanta in the tournament once again. They got knocked out. Who did they get knocked out by? Oh, yeah. Club Brugge. They obviously expect way better of them. Obviously, the controversy and drama came after that Lookman penalty with Gasperini and all of that. So they will be looking to relaunch their season. Juventus obviously sacked Motta mid-project, got Tudor in, but got Champions League. I think with Motta, they were down in like 7th, 8th place. He went up, so they will be looking to potentially strengthen now in the summer. They're looking at Kolo from PSG, some other players probably. And they will obviously be part of the Club World Cup as well. So they will have that to focus on as well as, trying to strengthen into next season. But Juventus are definitely going to be an interesting team. And obviously the one I haven't mentioned is Napoli back in the Champions League. After finishing 10th last season, it was like 9 teams from Serie A was in European competitions in the Champions League, Conference League, and Europa League, but not Napoli. Happy to see Napoli back again. Conte, though, one of the most, when you look at the disparity between how great they are in the league and the Champions League. Like Conte is this. Conte in the league, one of the best league managers from the past like 10 to 15 seasons. Obviously won 5 Serie A, 1 Premier League title with Chelsea as well. But in the Champions League, I think the furthest he's gone is like round of 16 with Chelsea when he got knocked out versus Barca. He's gotten relegated from the Champions League group stage as well with a Juventus side. And I think lost to Fulham in the Europa League. So I don't know how good Napoli will be. Actually, you know what? I actually saw a report that Conte will leave the club. So Napoli will be very interesting what they will do over the summer and how they will be next season. Because I saw a report that Conte is not staying. So I don't know why I was talking about that. Moving on to the Bundesliga, we got Bayern München, Bayer Leverkusen, Frankfurt, and Dortmund. Bayern München, once again, back into the Champions League, but winning the Bundesliga this once time. They were looking to strengthen obviously in the summer because first season on the company, second season would definitely look better. So they will be one of the favorites for the UCL next season. Leverkusen obviously. They've lost Xabi Alonso. They got Erik ten Hagen. They got Ibrahim Maza and Amora. So I'll be watching Leverkusen with my two double Algerians. They'll be very interesting in the UCL this season. They've definitely got some experience off this previous season. Frankfurt, obviously they're there. They're a very good side. They did lose Marmoush though. They could potentially lose some of their other better players. We know Frankfurt usually is a selling club. So it'll be interesting what they can do. They were obviously very good in the Europa League, but as I said, they lost Marmoush. They will probably lose Egetik in the summer as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Dortmund made a huge comeback. I remember they used to be 11th. Niko Kovac came in, and somehow they managed to climb all the way up to 4th place. Guirassy, what a season he's had. He should be definitely in the Ballon d'Or top 30 for the season he's had with Dortmund, both in the league and in the Champions League. But it's always nice seeing Dortmund back in the Champions League, and prefer them ahead of Freiburg and Mainz. And lastly but not least, La Liga BBVA, Atletico Bilbao, Villarreal. Oh, and obviously, that's another thing. England and Spain got extra places. Villarreal, we haven't seen them in the UCL in ages. I can't even remember. Actually, we do remember the last time Villarreal were there. Thanks to Unai Emery, that deep run made it all the way to the Champions League semifinals. They would just be a cheeky group stage team, in my opinion. Atletico Bilbao, I had my perception of Bilbao changed so much after that United game. I didn't really watch that game. I know they rotated the squad a bit, got that unfortunate red card in the beginning of the game, but I don't know. Like that Europa League was theirs. The finalists played in their stadium. Nico Williams stayed and everything, and they still battled it. So I don't know how to feel about Bilbao going into the UCL next season, but they will definitely be a good side, depending if they can keep Nico Williams or not. But always a good side-ish. Atletico Madrid, once again, they will be, one of the underdogs, the dark horses of the UCL, defensively good. Let's see what they can do in the summer transfer window. Julian Alvarez has been a sensational signing, and they were really great last season, but battled it when it mattered the most. Battled in the Copa del Rey, battled in La Liga, and battled in the Champions League. Just couldn't do it when it mostly mattered, when the pressure was on them. So let's see if Atletico can bounce back from that. Real Madrid, huge season for them in the Champions League. They're lucky there is a Club World Cup. If there wasn't a Club World Cup, Madrid, all attention and pressure would be on the transfer window and to bounce back next season. But the Club World Cup can work as a bounce back for Madrid ahead of the new upcoming season. But they will obviously be very focused on the Champions League next season, trying to win it. But they will also be focused on trying to get La Liga back versus FC Barcelona. FC Barcelona, this was potentially their year, but they couldn't do it when it mattered the most. They couldn't hold on to the ball for those last 5 minutes, and they conceded 7 goals in the Champions League semi-final. So I don't really know where Barca can go from here, because I think they played peak flick ball, and peak flick ball still wasn't good enough. So I don't think this flick ball can get any better. They got the best out of Lewandowski and Rafinha. I don't know how Barca is going to be next season. They're definitely going to be one of the favorites. They're definitely going to push for the Champions League next season. I think La Liga, maybe the Cups could be a bit tougher for them, but they have a good squad. They were competing for everything, for the quadruple, for the treble, and once again for the Champions League. I think they will be weaker than this current season, in my honest opinion. And now we've gone through all the teams. One thing we saw in the Champions League format last season is, I think it was 4 teams from the European top 5 leagues that did not make, no, 3 teams actually, that did not make the top 24. It was Bologna, obviously, from Serie A, lost Thiago Motta, and Xerxes and some other players as well, Califiore, obviously. You got Girona from La Liga, Leipzig from Germany. You got Stuttgart as well from Germany, I forgot about them. The one La Liga team, two Bundesliga teams, one Serie A team. Liga and La Liga were the only two leagues that had all teams go through. So if I'm going to predict some top 5 league teams, because at the end of the day, some of them have to go out. Honestly, Napoli, I don't know, because Napoli's strong squad is not the strongest. It's mostly Conte, getting so great stuff out of them. But if Conte is going to leave, I'm going to say potentially Napoli, maybe Frankfurt, Villarreal. Yeah, I'm going to say Villarreal too. Even though they have Baena and a great manager in Marcelino. Tottenham. Wow, it's really tough. You know what? I'm going to pick, let's pick 4 teams. Pick Marseille. Marseille. Is that an agenda? Okay, if Nice make it, Nice going out. Let's take Napoli to be interesting. Let's take Frankfurt, and let's take Villarreal. Villarreal, Napoli, Nice, and Frankfurt will not make it top 24. Let's go for an early prediction going into the Champions League next season. And I'm going to pick my 4 Champions League favorites going into the UCL next season very early on. Paris Saint-Germain, obviously. Barcelona, obviously. Real Madrid, obviously. And then I'm going to give it to Bayern München ahead of all the Premier League teams and Inter Milan, the Champions League finalists. That's been it for your boy PSGINT. I'm really excited for the Champions League next season, but obviously even more excited for the Champions League final we have coming ahead. But as I said, very excited for the Champions League next season. Cannot wait. This new format is absolutely banging. The quality in the UCL has never been better. That's been it from boy PSGINT, and as usual, allez Paris.